Number 23, Texas A&M on the road against Miami. The Aggies are 4.5-point favorites. 2:30 p.m. is when you can watch this. Guys, both teams had really impressive week ones. They kept their opponents at bay. It's what they should have done, right? Miami of Ohio let me down badly. I believe that they could cover that 16.5-point spread. They didn't even score a touchdown. New Mexico, on the other hand, put one complete drive together but could not stop. Texas A&M could not continue moving the chains. And so you've got two teams that traditionally have staked their reputation on defense going head-to-head. This was an ugly game a season ago. A&M winning on their home turf 17-9. Garrett, I'm inclined to think that the Aggies are the much better team on paper. They've got the better quarterback. We saw that for sure last week when Connor Wegman looked like a true budding star. Van Dyke, listen, he had his moment in the sun, but he's really struggled to put together consistent performances. I think this is going to be what A&M can do in the air versus what Miami can do on the ground. A&M, the 4.5-point favorites on the road. Is that an accurate mark?
I think it is, mostly for the reason that you have to wait to see if A&M can do what they did last week again, right? If A&M can be the team they were last week, where Connor Wigman has the best QBR in the nation, then yeah, it's going to be a long day, right? It's going to be a long day for Miami. It'll be a lot of fun for Aggie fans. By the way, comparing QBRs, Tyler Van Dyke right now sitting at 67th in the nation. So if you're just looking for the quarterback edge, it's screaming Connor Wigman through one game. Obviously, we're not going to overreact to that. I doubt that either guy finishes in that place on the year. But when you look at what A&M wants to do on offense, obviously the Bobby Petrino thing has been widely speculated about. It's his offense. It's clearly his offense. He's going to run it the way he wants to, and he knows how to attack a weakness. That was entirely what they did against New Mexico. The unexpected Noah Thomas emerging, basically because they wanted to put a safety on him to cover him. And Bobby Petrino said, "Thank you. I will take that matchup every single day of the week and twice on Sunday." But you look at that against Miami. What's Miami going to do to try to line up against it defensively? Well, they're going to want to drop a lot of guys and basically tell them to run the football, right? They're going to say, let's put some safeties back. Let's play a little bit of soft coverage. Let's kind of give you the underneath stuff and just see if Connor Wigman can be patient and complete passes, right? If he can do that, then I think A&M's going to be off to the races and they're going to have a great game. They should also be trying to key in on running the football. Now, a lot of people don't want to talk about it, from last week because of the way that the passing went for A&M. But A&M did run for 160 yards, which is not nothing. It was a pretty effective game on the ground. Problem was it wasn't flashy, right? There weren't any massive, long break-off runs or a guy scampering free and gets into the second level. There's just a lot of really consistent running game. Now, flip that around for Miami. I'm concerned about Miami's ability to run in this game. I know that they had good success against the Red Hawks last week. Red Hawks don't have a defense. All right, they don't have anything worth a dang on defense. They couldn't stop the run against the certain high school teams. Probably they're not very good. Okay, they cannot play good defense. With that being said, I do think Miami has an okay offensive line. I really think the key to this game is going to be how can their offensive line match up with the 3 down plus 2 off the edge that A&M wants to run on defense. If A&M can plug those holes well, if A&M can be good in their gaps, Miami won't be able to move the football because their entire pass game is, sideline to sideline, lots of screens, lots of sit downs, lots of out routes. They do not push the ball down the field. And if you can keep the ball in front of you for A&M, make them execute for, long drives down the field, that's not going to go their way. But again, if you're A&M, you have to focus on making sure that you can keep that passing game pushed down the field and try to take the stuff that Miami wants to give you. If you ask me what happens, I think that is kind of the game plan. I think 4.5 is really, really nice to Miami right now. I think A&M is legit on offense. I think they're going to see it again. I'm going to give A&M minus the 4.5, and I don't think it's even that close. A lot of this game is factoring in away for A&M and everything else. Miami ain't going to put anybody in the stands, so look, it's not a great home crowd. We can clown it as much as we want to. Go look at their, ticket sales available as of last Sunday. It wasn't impressive. So look, A&M minus 4.5. Give me the Aggies in this one to win it big and make a big statement to get back to where they want to be nationally.
Yeah, they're doing a BOGO now. Did you see that? If you buy a ticket to this game, you get a free ticket to the Georgia Tech game. So if you're in the Miami-Dade County area, you might want to look into that.
Come for the Aggies, stay for the Jackets.
Oh, that's
what I
the
always
worst. That's the worst BOGO maybe of all time. I don't know. Maybe the Jackets are plucky. Maybe we get to a bowl game. I don't know. Week 1 wasn't impressive. Trey, A&M and Miami both had a lot of flaws right after last year. Both incredibly disappointing 5-7 seasons. Who did more in this offseason to patch those holes and to put a complete team and a roster together for 2023?
To me, it feels like A&M's done more to fix their problems. And I'll confess that I follow A&M closer than I do Miami, being here in Texas. But listen, this was a Miami team that only mustered 9 points at Kyle Field last year. It was the same quarterback. It was a lot of the same players on the offensive side of the ball. Garrett, you mentioned that the defensive front is going to be a big part of this game. And can Miami run the football? They ran for a lot of yards last week against Miami of Ohio. But that was the problem last year. The reason that A&M was able to escape with a victory in that game with only putting up 17 points is the defensive line just dominated. A&M's defensive line, I think, has only gotten better. They seem more disciplined. They seem like they understand the scheme a little bit more in year 2 under the defensive coordinator. So, listen, we saw so many times last year that A&M would just abandon what was working defensively and run a 3-man front that just didn't make a lot of sense. I'm thinking of the Quinshon Judkins game where he ran for about 400 yards. And the gap discipline is going to be everything to me because I think the better athletes are on A&M's side of the ball. I do think A&M's done more to fix the issues. Just haven't seen it from Miami yet. Like I said about needing to see it to believe it with Quinn Ewers in Texas, it's another thing with Miami. I just need to see it to believe it that they've done what they need to do to fix their problems. I know they dominated Miami of Ohio, but they just kind of looked like the same team that was on the field last year. They've dominated a couple cupcakes early in the year last year, but I'm more impressed with what A&M has just kind of revolutionized. Their offensive side of the ball and their defense looks more disciplined this year. So because of all that, I'm leaning A&M -4.5. I do think this is going to be another one that's really close for about half, and A&M's athletes start to make it pull away in the second half. And look, Connor Wegman, if you don't know his name by now, you're going to know his name by the end of the night on Saturday because I think he's going to have 1 or 2 throws on national TV, ABC primetime that just make people's jaws drop. Maybe they're tuning in a little bit early for Texas, Alabama. They see this kid they've never seen before. He's going to make some throws that really impress a lot of people this week that haven't seen him play yet. And he's going to write his name onto the scene. I'm calling it right now. It's going to be a big breakout game for Connor Wegman.
I think the A&M offense, I'm sorry, if they get humming, I don't think Miami has the horses to stop them. I mean, remember, this is a team last year that was allergic to tackling. And when it comes to marked improvements, I don't know that Miami can say that they've made the same strides that Texas A&M has. Now, with that being said, I'm going to take Miami plus the 4.5. They are at home. I don't think that's a huge advantage aesthetic wise, right? No Canes crowd is going to be loud and rocking the place because, well, they don't show up. But I do think there's something to be said about A&M getting punched in the mouth at some point during this game. We haven't really seen Connor Wegman make mistakes, right? He famously has not thrown an interception yet. At some point, that streak is going to get broken, and this is the biggest road game of his young career so far. To me, it feels like he's bound to make a mistake like that. And I want to see how he bounces back in those moments because as young as he is, this team is looking to Wegman as their leader. They've got all the skill position players. The offensive line is veteran, and they're back to playing, the level that I think most Aggies are hoping for. But Connor Wegman leads this team. I want to see if he can bounce back if he makes a mistake, how the defense specifically calms down the passing attack from Tyler Van Dyke. Listen, Van Dyke is not an elite quarterback. I don't think there are many people that are still arguing that. But I will say, if there is one weakness on this A&M team, you might look at the secondary, specifically at the cornerback position. A&M's just not very deep there right now. And at some point, a team is going to pick on them and score some points through the air. I wonder if that's Miami at home. They know what happened last year when they got caught in a slugfest on the ground. It didn't work. They lost to a much more physical team. if they go aerial trying to score, I don't know that A&M has an answer that we can point to just yet. So I think this game is closer than what folks may originally guess. I am going to take Texas A&M to win. They're the better team. They've got the better talent. I'm going to believe in that. But maybe to hedge my bets, maybe because I'm curious to see how a young Connor Wegman handles the pressure and the lights on the road. I'll take the Canes plus the points just to even that out.
Gracious, how about